Oi, oi! Welcome everyone to Blue Abroad, the teams with me, Pom, Dan. Call me anything you want, anything that doesn't rhyme with Hunt, I'll answer to. I am joined by my main man, my favourite person to talk teams with, Mr. Lecarius Doggers. How you doing, Lec Dog?
Mate, I'm all right. It's our favourite time of the week, isn't it? We talk through the teams, we talk through the logic of what will happen and what won't happen, and then at the end we tip the Blues and get disappointed. It's the best time of the week, and I've already seen the Suns team, so our team can't be far off.
Yeah, well, the teams have already come in. So, as straight off the bat, we have got no Lewis Young, no Paddy Dow, no Jesse Motlop, no Jack Silvani, and no Ed Kerner. What is going on at Carlton? So that would mean your backline is Brodie Kemp, Jacob Wheater, and Nick Newman, Jordan Boyd, Mitch McGovern, Adam Sard, Blake Akers, Patrick Cripps, Matty Kennedy named on the wing, David Cunningham, Charlie Kerner, Jack Martin, Lockie Fogarty in the pocket for a bit of tackle pressure, Harry Mackay, Matty Owes, Mark Pittener, Adam Chera, Sam Walsh, Chincotta, Doherty, Cottrell, and TDK. Well, chat and Leg Dog, initial thoughts, please.
I thought no Ed would mean Paddy Dow, but then I forgot who we support. Look, this isn't terribly far off the side we put together on Tuesday's show. Nick Newman, probably surprised, didn't think he'd be available before our bye, but maybe they're bringing him back in as a bit of a leader. But no, look, hey, I'm excited to see David Cunningham and Jack Martin both named in the half-forward line. It's probably the most exciting half-forward and most injury-prone half-forward line we've named in 5 years. I'm actually really excited to see it.
Well, I mean, you've summed that up, haven't you? I mean, you are an amazing human being, the fact that you can give a positive shrouded as a negative.
Well, I mean, that's what you have to do with these guys. The guys that, I'd rather they get hurt in the ones than the twos. So plug them in. They could be dynamic. They could be explosive. And let's see what happens. I also like that we've given Fogg a chance. I didn't think that they'd play Lockie Fogarty this year at all, but he's been toiling away in the reserves, and he tackles, and he tackles, and he tackles, and he tackles. And guess what we need? Tackles.
Mate, I could not agree more. Do you know what I mean? At the moment, we've got about as much tackles in that forward line as Rex Hunt's tackle box after a big day at the Yarra catching Barramundi.
Catch a few Barramundi off the coast with Lockie Fogarty. Probably there's been rumours all week that Jackson Binns was going to play. I'd be surprised if they debut him as the sub. But then again, well, who's going to be the sub? Let's talk. I know we normally save that for the end, Pom, but that's what I'm interested to see. We got Binns, Ed Kerno, Paddy Dow, and Lewis Young. Surely it's not going to be Paddy Dow for the third week in a row.
We should have a segment here because we could recreate that famous 80s song. Let's talk about subs, baby. Hey, say it, I'm here all week, ladies and gentlemen. I am here all week. Well, I mean, it's Ed Kerno, Lewis Young, Jackson Binns, Paddy Dow. So I'm going to break this down. We're going to go with a new thing called POM logic, right?
Mm-hmm.
So logic would state that it's Jackson Binns if you were being serious, because you want some pace, stretch the game, it's less pressure. But this is the AFL, so no one debuts as sub. It's only ever happened twice, so that won't happen, right? So then we go with logic. Paddy Dow is the next quickest player on that list, right? But then you've got to bring into what I like to call Carlton logic, right? Which would mean it's Ed Kerner, but as a curveball for complete bants, it could be Lewis Young as well. But I mean, if you were holding a gun to my head and said that you were going to kill me and everyone that I know and cherish, if I was wrong, I would put all the money on Ed Kerner.
Yeah, I know. Here's why I think it could be Lewis Young. He's versatile. We've got 2 injury-prone half forwards. He could come in and play forward. He pinch hits in the ruck. We've gone in with Pitto, who has had some question marks over his fitness. And, of course, he can play down back. But, no, look, what we're kidding ourselves, aren't we? It's got to be Ed Curnow. Or it'll be a late Ed Curnow in. Paddy Dow.
You know when you say Young's versatile? Like, he's only versatile because Fabansk and played him for 10 minutes.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
he's versatile like Jack Silvani's versatile, right? Like in the reserves, we play him at full back, and then we put him in the ruck line when we want to have a bit of a laugh, and he also plays forward sometimes. So yes, he's that type of versatile.
Classing him as a swing man is like saying because Pom on his honeymoon played doctors and nurses with his wife, he's also a surgeon.
I'm trying to offer some opportunities for it to not be Ed Curnow, but it's going to be. I'll quickly run through the Gold Coast Suns lineup. They've gone Ballard, Collins, Jeffrey in the fullback line, halfback line, Long, McPherson, Powell. In the centre line, Fiorini, Swallow, Ainsworth. Swallow still getting games in the midfield. In the ruck line, Witts, Rowell, Anderson. Pretty dangerous ruck line there. Half forward, Rosas, Holman, ex-Carlton player Holman, Lukosius, forward, Berry, King, ex-Carlton forward, Casbolt as well. And then they've not debuted, but they brought back Mac Andrew, Rory Atkins, Davies, and Humphrey on their bench. So their emergencies are Moyle, Day, Alice, Sexton. One of them will be the sub. You imagine
100% it'll be Sexton.
Oh, Sexton, you reckon?
Guaranteed.
Lock it in.
Guaranteed. Sexton all day. And Mac Andrews comes in, obviously, for the threat of Charlie Curnow and Harry. They do like to go tall. It's interesting, actually. This is going to be an entertaining game because you look at it, they're definitely going to be looking at, the contested football side of things, winning clearances, Carlton 15th and 11th in them respectively. They're 1 and 2. They've obviously got the ruck advantage. They've got the umpire advantage as well because Nathan Williamson's in there.
Great. I've got someone to yell at.
Hey, tell you what, if you come and watch the watch along, you'll never hear me say anything nice about the umpires. But I mean, I do want to talk about something. I am actually quite chuffed because just before we went live, I recorded my preview. I've done it a little bit differently this week, and I did the matchups. And I've just checked. I got them all right. So, tell you what, my intel on Gold Coast is good. But I've got to say, that forward line, I'm going to give you a little sneak preview now. Let me find it. I think it's this one. I don't know why it's changed the background. Who knows? Why did that happen? Can I change it back? There we are.
Beautiful.
So there you are, right? We're all about David Cunningham on this show because I tell you what, I want to hear no negativity about Carlton versus Gold Coast. I want to hear no things like, oh, I've been on Twitter and people are downplaying the Suns, or I'm going fishing on Sunday. I don't give a fook, right? Because it's Connors and Curnow time, baby. And here he is. Here is Mr. David C., Starman himself. These were his numbers the last time he played consecutive games. But I want you to look at the chance creation, right? This would put him numero uno, right? In the forward line at Carlton Football Club, right? 23.7% of scoring shots David Cunningham created. You are looking at Alpha, Omega, Beta. You're looking at them all. You know that picture? Do you remember it? Of, the two guys and they've got the finger and there's the spark.
Yeah.
He's the fucking spark, ladies and gentlemen. I honestly, I'm actually past the point of caring on Sunday. I don't care. I get to see Cunners run out.
Happy Mate, the 2015 draft. Although I read they were saying it's the first time that the top 4 or whatever picks from that year have played together in like 5 years or whatever, 4 years. Bit sneaky to leave out the 5th player drafted in that draft in Jack Silvani, who's been dropped. But yes, no, it's very exciting to see.
You had to get it in.
The core of the rebuild The core of the rebuild is here. Very excited to see David Cunningham. I'm even going to forgive him for spelling his name wrong. That's how excited I am to see him on the park alongside my boy, Jack Martin. It's going to be, I'm hoping, very exciting. I want to quickly shout out Pom, Harry Mackay's 100th game, Tom DeConning's 50th game. So they've got a couple of things to play for. What I want to highlight, and obviously scoring has been an issue for us recently, Pom. Don't expect a high-scoring game because I was looked past the last 5 games we played Gold Coast. We've scored 62 points against them last year, 57 and 70 the year before, 60 in 2020. It doesn't really count, and then 99 in round 18. So it's going to be probably a low-scoring game. But with David Cunningham unlocking us, mate, those 8 goals 18, they might be 18 goals 8 on Sunday.
Could be. Sandy mentions King, Casbolt, Luca, which sounds kind of like an ancient Gaul king, doesn't it? I mean, sounds like when you were a kid, you'd read the Asterix books, which I might be too old for some people in chat, but it would be Asterix versus King Casb Loco. Do you know what I mean? That's going to be an interesting one, I think. Levi Casbolt. You look at this backline versus their backline. I am actually glad Young's not there because genuinely, I think when Carlton went a bit smaller, you actually saw Carlton accidentally unlock the secret there. You know me, I have got a real hatred of height. I really don't like it. And I'm going to use a point every time I do a preview, every time I do a live show against Port, the comments are always small backline. TDK, Kerner, Mackay, absolutely stuff them. And it never works out. So, like, for me, I actually think I like it. I think Kemp is an absolute jet and it frees him up. His numbers are verging on elite if he played that. So, I like it. I mean, Anthony, my main man, talking about no Lockie Cowan. I am actually surprised about that. They have favoured old mate here. They have favoured Chincotta and Nick Newman have been preferred. That's an interesting one, that, because obviously they're really putting the faith in Nick Newman to play that secondary exit role out of rebound 50. Thoughts, chat, and you, Lekdog, of Newman versus Cowan?
Oh, look, I'm going to just traditionally favour Newman just because I think we lack composure and he can sometimes, when he's on form, he can bring that. I was surprised that I was actually expecting a Cowan in for a Chincotta. Not that Chincotta did anything particularly wrong or anything like that. I just thought that would happen. It hasn't happened. Maybe they're just going to continue to give Cowan a little bit more time in the twos to keep playing well. I'm not sure if he's hurt or something. I don't know, but I'm excited. I think, remember, before Nick Newman went out of the team, the first 4 or 5 or 6 weeks, we were saying, "Oh, this guy's our best defender this year." So I'm always gonna back him in. I also think, and there's no evidence for this, Pom. I think Adam Sard plays better when Nick Newman's there. I just feel like he just gets freed up a little bit more, and maybe it's just the fact that Nick Newman's looking to kick to him, and he's a decent kick. Maybe that's all it is. But I think structurally we're a bit more sound when Nick Newman's in the side. I know he can be a whipping boy, but I'm a big fan of what he can bring to the table. I would have liked to have seen Cowan play, but I definitely think we're going to see him again before the end of the year. I wouldn't stress too much. He's got the bye next week. Maybe they bring him back after that.
It's going to be entertaining. It's going to be an interesting one. I mean, you'd imagine Marchbank, his injury might make McGovern a little bit squeaky. Carlton are set to announce, rumoured, reported in various outlets that Mr. Kemp is going to sign on for the 2 years, which you would say that there was rumours. Voss did confirm that Marchbank was starting last week, bar the back spasm, was it? It was some spasm he had. Interesting if that means that he's a bit risk, because Lockie Cowan in the VFL playing a lot more high half back and being a bit more aggressive, and also that meters gain per disposal, he clears his lines. So it's going to be interesting because I'm excited about that one. What does everyone think? And I like to just tease you all, but Kennedy named on the wing. This is a big thing with Voss. He does it every week. In our team show that Lek Dogs are part of on Tuesday nights, we always take the piss that people reckon I've put the team down wrong, but I just copy what Voss did. He's done it this time. He had a centre half back who was a pocket forward last week. This week he's gone with the Kennedy on the wing. Surely Kennedy, we know Kennedy won't play wing, but you're looking at that wing row. It's going to be interesting because with the lack of natural wingers in that lineup, we know Voss likes to float a third and a fourth. Looks like we're going to see the return of Walsh and Chera spending a lot of time up there.
Yeah, I think you're going to see Akers, Cottrell, Walsh, Chera, and Doherty's named on the starting bench. I'd be surprised if that happened as well. I reckon we might. Well, actually, they might not line him up at half forward at the opening bounce because they've actually got some half forwards in the team this week. So, but I'm going to keep an eye on that Doherty. I'd be surprised if he starts on the bench. But yeah, I reckon we might see Matt Kennedy. Even if he starts on the wing at the first bounce, I think he immediately swaps with Sam Walsh. Immediately.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Matt as well. I think Doc will live halfback. I think when you looked at last time we dropped Young and we just played one recognised tall, Doc lived down the back, which I think helps. Shane, thank you for reminding me. Big shout out to Alex, the Juggernaut Murkoff, who has been stood down and he's gone for an operation on a leaky aorta in his heart. So thankfully that has been found early because those who follow the round ball, there's been a lot of issues with hearts in football undiagnosed. So we're going to be sending our love to Murkoff and hopefully we see him back rip-roaring, tearing up the VFL in the first rounds. But for senior football, that does make a very interesting proposition because with having no Murkoff, that means we're going to see a lot of JSOS and also a lot of Hudson O'Keefe and Harry Lemmy get some ruck work, which from watching the VFL, no disrespect to Murkoff, but since he's been out, it's actually been quite good to see Hudson and Lemmy do a bit of the ruck work because Hudson's doing a predominant amount of it, and it's probably a good thing that we get to see him do what he's paid to do because he is on the senior list, people forget.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited for Hudson O'Keefe's development. He was someone that I looked at pre-season. Did we take him in the PSD in the end or the rookie draft? I can't quite remember. Anyway, O'Keefe.
It was the PSD.
Yeah, so he was someone that I thought would go in the tail end of the national draft. Lemmy is another guy that I had an eye on as a depth key position player, which I was actually key position forward. That I was glad we picked up. And I think the more reps you get into them, the better. It's been a long time since we've actually had that young ruckman on the list who's got a career ahead of him to develop. And as much as I respect what Murkoff's done, I think with him out of their team, it kind of amplifies what those guys can do and hopefully kickstarts their careers because we haven't really had a developing ruckman on our list really since like Matty Cruiser kind of. Like
I'm going to say we really haven't had a ruckman since 2013, which is when we took Matty Cruiser, which I mean
we had that period where we had Sam Jacobs and Matty Cruiser and Matthew Warnock and all that on the list. But in terms of ones that we've drafted and developed, it's been a long time. So
we've gone through the things, haven't we? Do you remember? Because we had loads of young ones in 2013.
Yeah.
And then we went through a stage of just a shitload of mid crap ones, Lob, Phillips, like a plethora of them. And then we've got to the stage now where we've got one mid-age ruck that's injured, one slightly mid-age younger ruckman who's developing but has stayed the same development for about 5 years.
Yes.
A volleyballer who we're going to fast track into football. Yeah. It's a weird one, isn't it? It's a weird one. We haven't quite got that ruck pattern right yet.
No. And we've been calling out for it for quite some time as fans on the outside. The other thing, Pom, that's interesting about this lineup, which I think you predicted on the team's show on Tuesday, is there's no George Hewitt. George Hewitt hasn't made his way back into the team. I don't necessarily have anything against George Hewitt. In fact, I think he's pretty good. But I think the balance is better when we don't have all of those guys in the team. So one to keep an eye on is how he performs in the reserves. You assume he's going to play reserves. But I just wanted to comment on the sort of evolution of our starting 22 over the year, because we've obviously been calling for there's no selection integrity. We need change. We need this. We need that. But if you actually look at this team, and I know obviously the season hasn't gone the way we wanted, if you look at this team compared to what we had in round one, it's a dramatically different team with a lot of upside guys in there rather than the what we had at the start of the season, which was a lot more veterans.
Well, I mean, we've gone through more personnel than Leo DiCaprio goes through girlfriends in a calendar year this year, to be fair. The Carlton DiCaprios, we're calling them. But, I mean, unbiased, I look at that team, where we are in the season, the ladder position taken into account. I actually don't hate the team, to be fair. I can't think of any names that I'm missing. I think Dow's stiff. To be fair, I would have liked to have seen us give Dow a full game like we have everyone else who's subbed twice. But fair enough, it's hard to look past Walsh, Chera, Cripps, and Kennedy. I don't like us playing all them mids, to be fair. I do like the fact that Fogarty, I think it was the no-brainer in the VFL. He's getting more and more forward time now over midfield. So I think that's something they've looked at. I do like, I mean, just on paper, I mean, unfortunately, it's the Football League, not Origami League. Yeah. So before anyone quotes me on this, I'm going to specify that. But Cunners, Kerno, Martin, Fogarty, Mackay, Owies, like on paper, ooh.
It's like a real forward line.
Oh, just smack it round my face. Yeah, they like it looks good. It looks
how we use it is going to be the interesting part, but it looks very bloody good.
It does look good, doesn't it? I mean, yeah. If I feel comfortable with them being kicking in there, and Fogg been averaging 7.4 tackles this
Something
year,
crazy like that.
3.6 inside the forward half. If you can bring that, and then always is just left to be the pocket forward. Martin's working his ass off up for the flank, and Cunners just dancing around like a little gem that he is. That could excite me, to be fair. We've got... I like that forward line. I do like that forward line.
No, I'll be... And this isn't... You gamble responsibly. I'll be putting a little wager on Cunningham first goal because he's a beast. But I'm just getting ahead of the commentary because it's going to come from, and it will already be on Twitter. We haven't named any crumbing forwards. We don't have any crumbing forwards on the list, so don't worry about it. This is our best makeup of our forward line we've played this year. Absolutely. Without a doubt.
It's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to it. So I suppose we get round to that time again where we predict, and me and Lekdog are in a horrible position because we have to give you something. So Lekdog is... I've seen a change in Lekdog. I've done this show with him beautifully for 18 months now. And Lekdog, to be honest, he's on a threadbare. To be fair, he's gone. We've lost him, chat. So we've got to bring him back. So I'm going to try and think. So here it is. I want your score predictions. I want your Brownlow predictions for this game. 3, 2, 1. And I want how many score involvements is Cunners going to generate on his own.
Well, I mean, score involvements, not goal assists, score involvements. He's going to be in 11 score involvements. The Blues are going to score 69 points. And that's going to be, what's that? Is that 10 goals? They're going to kick 10 goals. So it's going to be
10 goals, 9.
10 goals, 9.
You did the math easy because 6 can be multiplied, yeah.
Gold Coast, we obviously I'm tipping us to win like I do every goddamn week. Gold Coast, we're going to just narrowly win. It's going to be Gold Coast 62, they're going to be a bit wasteful. I don't know what they score. We kicked 10 goals, 9. And the Brownlow votes, Pom. Do you want all the Brownlow votes or just the Carlton Brownlow votes? Because unfortunately,
no, 3-2-1.
Okay, so we're going to go 3. Matt Rowell. Matt Rowell's going to be best on. He's going to eat a bunch of grass before the game. We're going to go 2. David Cunningham. In a huge return to form, he's going to kick 3 goals. And he's just going to look bloody prime and bloody beautiful. And then a single vote is going to go to Adam Sard, who's going to absolutely rack it up off the feed of Nick Newman. And that's your predictions, everyone.
Okay, I like it. Connors is going to have 7 score involvements. Carlton are going to win by 9 points.
Nice.
Nice. If you want to gamble responsibly, load up on 9 points. And 3 Brownlow votes will be Adam Cherra.
That's probably a good shout.
Yeah. In a coming of age battle. 2 votes will be Matt Rowell, who unfortunately holds a one-legged Cripps to 21 touches this week. But 1 vote coming from the heavens. Some say he was forged from the tears of God himself. David Cunningham will get the 1 vote. Carlton by 9. Have a bit of that.
I'm into
Joe,
it.
Joe, how are we still mate? I'll be honest with you, Joe, my friend. I am just a sick human being. A human being that has been dragged down and beaten. But every time his country calls upon him in his darkest hour, and here I am fronting up, mate. Fronting up.
Well, mate, we're the tone setters. I think we're the last Carlton-specific show before the actual game starts on the channel. We have to set the tone. If we're not confident, who is going to be? We know the players watch. If we're not confident, then they're sure as hell not going to be.
Hey, tune in half-time to see how Pom...
Yeah. We should do a behind-the-scenes cam, like a little Amazon documentary of you when the camera turns off at halftime every week.
A week in Pom Mind would be a very good place. There's a lot of up and downs, I tell you. There is a lot of up and downs. But I'm looking forward to this one, to be honest. I am looking forward to this one for 2 reasons, right? One, I always enjoy playing Gold Coast because I think, like, who can remember? We'll finish on a quality moment, but Gold Coast always remind me of, do you remember 2019 when we ran Richmond close? Richmond were a really good side. And we had Gold Coast, didn't we? Round 2 at the G.
Sure, I believe you.
Tom Lynch got off the chain.
Oh, I actually forgot Tom Lynch used to play there. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I remember that. And I remember times were so high. Do you know what I mean? We'd ran the reigning premiers close. Do you know what I mean? They had to go out of 5th gear. Dimmer in his press conference was like, Carlton will be all right because they've put up a front. They've made it difficult for us. And we went in with so much hope. I'll never forget that sunny day, round 2. And Tom Lynch got his contract from Richmond on that game. Oh, dear. But I enjoy it. I enjoy it. Gold Coast, I think, are a great test. Good contested side. Good on his side. And let's have a bit of fun.
Mate, Mitch McGovern kicked. It looks like it was round 4, but Mitch McGovern kicked 3 goals in that game.
It might have been 2018, I'm thinking of. Tell you what.
Oh, yeah,
I shall tell you.
One or the other.
I'll tell you now through the medium of dance.
It might actually, yeah. I think it was 2018.
Yeah, it was 2018.
Yeah.
Who remembers that? 2018, that was a good year, wasn't
it? Got a free membership upgrade that year. I've continued paying for it.
Do you know what I mean? I can't remember. honestly, I remember that 2018 game. It was a good game. I remember going, and I just remember everyone was so high because Dimmer had thrown us a little bit of a little sweet snack, and and Mr.
He knew what he was doing.
That was it.
Oh,
Cheers, Shane.
mate. Matty Wright kicking 2 goals. That was it. What a year that was.
Do you remember Matty Wright?
Did he lead our goal kicking that year, 2018? I think he did.
Do you remember Matty Wright? Oh, a man who just stayed in the forward line all day.
The best he was the best. He was He was the first delisted free agent. I think he was the best delisted free agent taken. I tell you.
He just stayed in the forward line all the time. Oh, Matty Wright. Oh,
absolute beast.
Hey, that was good. Well, chat, I love you to pieces. Make sure you get around the boys. Fucking hell, they need you. And I don't know about you guys in chat and girls, but I need a fucking win. I tell you, I am over losing. Losing's fun for a while. It gets a little bit tiresome after a while, but go and cheer hard. Fuck the Suns. I want to see none of you in the replay fucking cheering if Levi Casbolt scores a goal. If I see anyone, I tell you,
no.
I've only just.
I sit on the fence in that forward, sort of where the 50 meets the boundary. If he marks it there, I'm gonna be unearthing all of the wisdom you've given me over the years on that man. I will make him cry.
Well, chat, look after yourselves. Go Blues. We'll be back next week. We won't be back next week. We have a sabbatical. We will be back in 2 weeks. We have a week off next week, so that'll be good fun. So cheer hard, enjoy it. Enjoy your week off as well next week. Go and recharge your batteries. But as always, go Blues.
Go Blues.